Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2. Attention all Wings fans, Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
Life changes, and sometimes that means changing where you call home. Whether you're downsizing, growing a family, relocating, or facing tough times, you shouldn't navigate it alone. I'm Laura Bonta-Bush with Woods Bros Realty, and I'm here to guide you with all your real estate needs. As wife of football coach Bill Bush, I understand the importance of teamwork and making sure you are supported every step of the way with honesty, integrity, and compassion. If you're looking for a game plan to buy or sell your home, text or call me at 402-525-0843. That's 402-525-0843.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Hopefully you and I agree that you should do everything you can to save your marriage. Divorce is hard, expensive, and its outcome is usually not all you hope for. However, when doing everything has failed, when divorce remains as your last option, consider Cordell & Cordell as your first choice to help you through the divorce process to a better place on the other side. We've been a partner men can count on for more than 30 years. Let us be that partner for you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 402-858-3220. That's 402-858-3220. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in downtown Lincoln. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop. Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
MHC isn't new, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can also handle your commercial moves as well. There's never fees on trucks, stairs, elevators, long carry, and last-minute booking, and no trip or fuel charges. Also no upcharge on weekends, and they do offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios. Here is your host, Derek Pearson. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wednesday double boom.
Respectfully. Respectfully. Live on a Wednesday night. Appreciate you hanging out with us. The Starter Heyman text line is 402-464-5685. You want to be a part of what we're doing? You can, and you should. Please, I have to keep reminding folks, download the Ticket app so we go wherever you go. It doesn't matter what your device is, phone, car, otherwise, have the Ticket app so that we can go with you and you don't have to worry about, oh my goodness, the Royals are on the brick and mortar. What do we do? Just hit the Ticket app. It's on your phone. It's on your laptop. It's everywhere you want to be. Harrison, it's constant.
It's essential. We even had someone come in for pictures the other day, and they're talking about the app's nice to have because he's not the biggest MLB guy, so he appreciates the Ticket app being able to tune in. And especially right now for the Royals, unless they've picked it up as late, I don't think their playoff chances are super great.
They really are building this on Bobby Witt Jr. and Jace Caglione bringing people to the party. But it's that time, right? It's from playoff to not playoff is tough.
Mm-hmm.
But we will carry through it. And of course, July means we're a few weeks from Hall of Fame game in the NFL and NFL preseason. The Ticket will be all over it. And then, of course, a full season of NFL football here on the Ticket. Thursday night, all the Thursday night games, both daytime and afternoon NFL games, the games of the week. We'll have the Sunday night games and the Monday night games. Plus we killed it on the college football game day. Of course, we focus on the Huskers pre and post game, but we have a collection of live college games this year. Nice.
I love it. I love being able to drive around because even after work, heading home, I still get to hear the NFL games.
Nice.
It's phenomenal.
Nice. We have a special guest, and it's always a good time when the head coach of Huskers tennis shows up. Peter Kobelt. Coach, what's happening with you?
PP, how we doing? Everything's good.
Can I say how impressed it Harrison, you get a little notice on Facebook, and it says Peter Kobelt just posted. And he and his lady looked like the cover of every magazine you and I would never get on. Like it was beyond that. It was like super, like if he was British, I would have went, okay. Like he looked like he was going to the princess wedding. Like, yeah, that's what it looked like. And I just went, would you look at this model looking dude? Yeah, coach, what are we doing? You're setting a tough standard. First of all, look, we're not all giants. Like we don't all have the perfect build. We're not like, come on, you're making it tough for the rest of us.
Well, I'm definitely out kicking my coverage. That's for sure. That's for sure. I don't know what it is, but we actually we met about a year and 4 or 5 months ago. At a yoga class just down the street at Fly Fitness. So we kind of met organically, which isn't super common these days, but yeah, she's amazing. So she's tall. She's 6'1". She played volleyball at Peru State. She's an athlete. She loves to work out. She's got 2 dogs. So the 2 dogs keep us busy. Golden retrievers.
Oh,
best dogs.
Yeah, those are dogs.
Uh-huh.
Those are dogs. Well, if you ever need a puppy sitter.
There we go. Yeah, we're always looking for dog sitters.
You ever need a puppy sitter, just bring them down here. Just bring them to the station, a bag of food and a squeezy toy, and we will cover them for the next few hours.
You'll be able to handle one of them. I'm not sure about the little puppy.
I'm the puppy whisperer.
Are you?
I am the puppy. Listen,
okay. Well,
that puppy comes back. It's going to be different.
Well, we might need to take some notes from you then too. After
that
after
puppy,
the show tonight.
Yeah, Becky and I were, we spent a lot of time fostering dogs across the country, and whether we were in Virginia or Texas, the only place we ever fostered was here, just because we were on acres in the other places, and it just made more sense to have the animals. And I just feel bad living in the Haymarket. Of course, my neighbor has a gigantic dog, and it makes me feel bad every morning. But then I want a dog 300 days of the year. There are those other 65 days when it is over 100 and under 15.
Yeah.
That I am grateful.
Right. True.
It's like, oh, it's snowing and it's 0 degrees. I don't have to get up and take a dog outside to go to the bathroom.
And,
Exactly.
Yeah. So, we figured that out. What's going on? You have had quite the journey, and we've been talking about recruiting, and then I get the notice that you guys have had it somebody to the program. Another international.
Yep, another international. So he technically committed, and then we were waiting for some of his. You got to get the transcripts. You got to get them translated. You got to get them from his. How each country does it takes a second, and then there's a bunch of other things you have to do in order for them to officially sign. So,
well, I know you're limited in what you can say, but I wanted to ask about the process.
Yeah, no, it's a process getting them to verbally commit, and then it's another whole thing getting all their paperwork. In the States, it's pretty easy because you don't have to translate anything. The high school system's pretty easy to navigate, but each country has its own. Sometimes the kids graduate when they're 17 years old. Sometimes they graduate when they're 18 years old. Sometimes they graduate when they're 19 years old. So you kind of have to sit down with the compliance office and the NCAA, tutorial, and you have to go through everything, and it all just takes time. We've done it a handful of times now, but it can be complex, and this last one was a little bit more complex. So it's finally good to get him signed. Then we got to get his visa. There's a whole host of stuff, and then with everything going on, the appointments haven't been super easy to get for some of the countries overseas. So you kind of hold your breath a little bit. But luckily, I think we're in a good position with all three of the guys coming in. We're waiting on a commitment potentially tomorrow. So we'll see about that one. We really like the recruit that may commit tomorrow, but we'll have to get back on the show next week to find the answer out about that. But
absolutely.
But yeah, I mean that's how it's kind of going right now. Other than that, it's a relatively slow alt. We don't really have anyone in town. None of our players are here right now. They're all either playing or they're back home overseas. So it gives me a chance to hang out with the lady and the dogs a little bit more, which is kind of nice.
Hanging out the ticket, and I keep. It's funny too. I was talking to Austin Orman about it, and it was. I grew up, especially watching the majors.
Yep.
It was so ingrained in if you were a sports fan. Look, Sunday morning Wimbledon, these weekends, especially this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Was so prominent. And I'm old enough to have watched Arthur Ashe, Rod Laver, Ilya Nastase, Baby Connors, and young McEnroe.
Oh yeah.
Right? To watch Billie Jean King, Margaret Court, the evolution of the game, the Ice Princess, Christy coming through, Martina absolutely changing the game, and you watched it, and then all the pageantry of Wimbledon. Have we lost some of that now?
I don't think so. Not with Wimbledon. Wimbledon's still this timeless event. You still go there, and I was there last year, and it's just remarkable. I would say the most comparable sporting event would be Augusta National for golf, but you go there, and all the the flowers are perfect. Everything's upkept. There's no weeds. There's no dirt. Everything's pristine. You go there, nothing's expensive either too.
It's amazing.
They don't upcharge you, kind of like what they do at Augusta. It's so you kind of go there and it gives you this old school feeling, and it's just beautiful. You get off the tube in London and you kind of walk through the Wimbledon Village, and it's just for me it's the best sporting event in the world. That outside, if you're not in the tennis world, you don't really know about it, but it's honestly remarkable. And if anyone ever has a chance to go, it's just one of those sporting events that you really have to go see because it's that special.
Well, the community of it, the village, is probably underrated because we always think of center court. We think of that pageantry, but the first time you walk through, and you're right in that it's special, it's unique because you feel the ghost of that place.
100%. Yeah.
Right? Like you have to stop. There's several places on the tour. We did the tour, and you just stop.
Sure.
And you consume. And when they show you the outfits, the previous uniforms worn, the tennis, the evolution of tennis rackets, tennis shoes, and then the people. And you're right. The fact that they haven't priced it to the moon.
Yep. Everything's reasonable. You know, what's also cool is in Wimbledon Village, you have all the players usually renting out a someone's house there. So, and the way it works is you go, you know, there's queens a week and a half before Wimbledon starts. So a lot of these guys will rent a house in Wimbledon Village because Queens isn't too far away, and then they'll just commute and they'll live in a house there in Wimbledon Village for like a month, which is cool. The players really enjoy it because they're not in a hotel, and that's how the tour works. You're in a hotel every week in a new place, so you get to be in a house, and a lot of them travel with their families and stuff. So it's nice for them to kind of feel normal, so somewhat from away from your house, but yeah, the all whites, the pristine grass, it's just, you go there and it's just different. I don't know. It's just different.
Would you ever think for the Huskers for a particular matchup just going all whites?
We have an all white uniform. Yeah, we can. We
right,
can do
like
that
a
for
tribute,
sure.
like a Wimbledon tribute, and have your guys. I mean, the weather's interesting. You could do like the half sweater vest.
Yep. No, I don't know. I think college tennis is a little more rambunctious than the Wimbledon semifinals. But
that would be. I could just see Ken Rosewall in his little sweater vest, and it seemed to me like it just made it more majestic.
Yep.
And to go through that, I've asked you that before about the men, but for the women, that Mount Rushmore, go through it again for me, because this is when it becomes a little bit more. There's a little bit more clarity to it.
Sure. So I think I had, I put Serena there. I think I put Navratilova there. What were my other two? I think maybe I put Billie Jean King.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I looked at the results, and I think Margaret Court would have had to been the other one that's won the most Grand Slams, I believe. So I'm a big tennis is one of those sports where kind of who the best player is in these team sports. There's so many different factors, but in tennis, it's literally just you playing. And if Serena wants to win Wimbledon, she has to go out and win Wimbledon, not her coach, not a substitute, not, whether she's feeling good or not that day. Like, she has to go and figure it out, over a course of 2 weeks. With a lot of things can happen and go on. So I don't know. I'd probably say those are my top four. I don't know if there's anyone playing on the women's side today that's at that level. I think for the women's side, there's a little more variability than the men's side. I think the guard is starting to switch on the men's side. Djokovic is kind of the last.
He's holding on. He's
fighting. The last soldier here.
Yeah.
He's in the semifinals, and for me, like Wimbledon and Roland Garros, one other thing I love about both of them, as a kid, like, I didn't like getting up early in the morning, but you wake up at 6 a.m, 7 a.m, you flip on ESPN or one of these channels, and you can just watch tennis. Like, you just sit there and I would just stare at the screen. And even now, like, it's you wake up, it's fun. Not everyone's watching, so ESPN, you get the ESPN coverage. A lot of these other sports get the main TV coverage, but who's watching TV at 7 a.m? So you just they put on Wimbledon, and it's boom, you get the amazing television first thing in the morning.
It's always interesting that, especially in the majors, and I have a problem because I like the style of play at the Aussie Open.
Yeah,
but it's just the time is so weird, and you're always playing catch up to what the process is. And then for anybody who hasn't been to the U.S. Open, that is such a unique freak show of human culture.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like that, the space, but being in New York City, and there's a different level of celebrity and culture.
Yep.
How would you describe the difference between U.S. Open and Wimbledon?
They upcharge you with foods.
It's New York City. New York City's not going to play with your wallet, man.
But I would say it's just it's a different place. It's the jungle. It's New York City. There you take the train. You take the 7 from Manhattan straight up into right up. You get off right before Mets Field there in Queens.
Yep.
And you hop off the train and you walk in, and it's a zoo. There's people everywhere. Everything's expensive, but it's a really unique event. I would say you don't get as much up close attention to like some of the bigger players. You do and you don't, but it's a really cool event. Obviously, if you're in New York, you get to go for You go over the weekend. There's a long weekend. I think it's Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
So you go over Labor Day weekend and you spend a couple days in New York City. You check out the U.S. Open. You get some tickets into Arthur Ashe Stadium, one of the coolest stadiums. It's the largest stadium in tennis. So, but yeah, it's a really cool event. I actually played the U.S. Open 2014. I played the doubles in the main draw there, which was really cool for me. All my friends and family came out to the match and stuff. We ended up losing. We got a tough draw. We played the eight seeds. They're the 8th best team in the world. So, yeah, I wasn't too picky, but it was a really cool experience.
How'd you qualify for that? How what's the process?
So I lost. We got the college wild card. So me and my teammate at Ohio State, we lost in the finals of the NCAA tournament. Really tough match, 7-6, 6-7, 7-6. And the wild card only goes to the winning team, but the winning team had one American and one foreigner on it. So I went out on tour right after that, and I won like 6 or 7 doubles tournaments in a row really quickly. And the USTA called and they said, hey, we're going to give you the wild card with the other American that you lost to from Tennessee to play. And I was like, all right, let's go. This is cool. So a few months later, I flew to New York and got to play. So that was really cool.
It's funny too that the scrutiny, the financial scrutiny, is a little bit different now. The paydays are incredibly different.
Yes.
And it makes it a little bit easier for you to be a pro now than previous generations.
I would say, yeah, but it's still not where it needs to be. But I'll say this: the coolest part about the whole experience was after we lost. One of the officials said, you can, if you'd like, you can take some of your prize money out from the bank. And I'm like, what do you mean the bank? There's in the U.S. Open, they have a bank that you can go to and you can take out some of your prize money. So I went out there and I was like, well, my family's in town. Let's take out some cash. At this point, I'd never had any cash before. So we went out in New York City. We had a steak dinner. Me and my friend, we went out for a little bit, but it was great. So that was one of those, like, oh my gosh, like I'll never do this again. So I might as well take cash out from the bank at the U.S. Open.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. So I think all the Grand Slams, you're able to do something like that.
So a percentage of what your show.
Well, you can only take out X amount, but I think I won 8 or 9 grand. So I took out like 1.5 or 2, and we went up to New York City and had a nice steak dinner and didn't have to worry about anything for a night. So
well, and then at that point, you don't have a coach or a manager that you're really paying fees to. So that certainly helps because that's usually a part of it. All the expenses of a pro tennis player. How does that set up? Like agent, training coach, nutritionist. Yeah. How's that break down?
So it's expensive. So if you're going to do the ATP tour the right way, you need help. Like you need to have a coach. It's almost impossible to make it to the top without having someone, helping you along the way. So, if you're going to pay a coach, it's the going rate on the tour is $1,000 a week. So if that's just for practicing.
Okay.
So if you're like I lived in Tel Aviv, Israel, and I paid my coach $1,000 a week to practice there. And then if I wanted to bring him on the road, it was still $1,000, but then you have to pay for his flights, his food, his hotel, any expenses that he needs. So depending on where you go, as you get better and better, the tournaments you go to are further and further away, and you're spending more and more money. So if you're just getting onto the tour and you have a coach, you're probably spending between 40 and 60 grand a year at the very least, if you're really cutting it tight. And then as you get better, these guys that are playing Wimbledon right now they're spending between 250 and 500 grand a year just on a coach. Easy, like real easy. So that's the hidden thing about tennis is it's expensive, not just for you to play, but it's also expensive for you to continue moving up the food chain. And that's where a lot of guys get stuck because you don't get the chance to win a lot of money either. So really, if you're not in the top 100 in the world,
you're grinding, because
if you're in the top 100 in the world, you make the main draw of the Grand Slams, and that's where you get your big checks.
Okay.
That's where you make,
what's the field of 64 make at Wimbledon?
Well, it's 128 draws, so you get You get some qualifiers that come in. So if you lose in the first round, I think the first round prize money is 80,000 pounds just for showing up and losing. So that's like a little under 100 grand before tax. You get taxed in the country that you play in.
Right.
So whatever the taxes aren't great in England, so you get dinged a little bit more. But so you whatever that is. So if you play all 4 of the Grand Slams, you're making 200 grand a year. If you're ranked in the top 100, that's guaranteeing you entrance into the main draw. So if you're 110 in the world, you don't get granted that main access, and you don't make that 200. You're not guaranteed to make that 200 grand. So that's the fine line with tennis, and that's probably the biggest issue with tennis is that for me, I was 300 in the world, and I was 25 grand in debt. When I stopped, I got to the University in Kentucky, and I was teaching lessons and sending money back over to my coach overseas, paying him off because that's what I had to do. But so that's the hard. You'd think like someone 300 in the world in their profession would be, sitting pretty.
Yeah.
But in tennis, that's not how it works now.
Is that partly why, especially on the women's side, that it's dad coaching? Right, that it actually helps the process. It helps you financially, helps you with control.
Yeah. So my dad was my coach and my sister's coach and my brother's coach growing up. He was a tennis pro, so that helped a ton. Tennis, you got to have private lessons. You got to have the rackets and strings. There's a lot of shoes. You go through shoes like crazy. All the tennis parents out there are laughing for sure right now. But it's expensive. So if there's any way you can save money with tennis, it's a big deal. So we were super lucky to have our dad as a coach, and we didn't have to pay for clinics or lessons, or we also got some free rackets and stuff because of his position at the club. And so there was some, it was better off for us than it is for most. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. Tennis is tough.
We're going to go to break. But Coach, I want to ask how that translates and transfers to the Huskers.
Sure.
Right, because Adidas is a big partner, but that doesn't necessarily fit all of the tennis needs. And maybe there's a way. Like, I don't know if there's a if you get shoe deals like you do in basketball. I don't know if you get tennis rackets like you do in some of the other sports for equipment. And we talk to the bowlers, and they talk about all the different things that they walk up. And there's Harrison. What was the number? How many bowling balls do they take?
Oh my Lord. I mean, they're bringing, I want to say it's like a set of clubs. It's like 8 bowling balls they're taking up on the planes. 9. I mean, you got your driver, putter. Like, that's the way they think about it almost. It's insane. So
we'll ask Coach, when they hit the tour, how many rackets are you taking? What are you taking with you? And it's become a thing now on social media. Like, what's in the bag? So we'll ask Coach Peter Kobelt what's in his bag and what's in his players' bags here on 101. We'll be right back.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Against Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Against Sports at 48th and Vine.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Make bill paying a breeze with Text to Pay. LES texts you 1 week before your bill's due date. Just reply to the Text to Pay. It's that easy. Log into your account at les.com to sign up today.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
When opportunity knocks, you don't want to miss the call. Hamilton Business Technologies makes communication easy and efficient using customized technology, all while putting people first. Whether you're working from the office, at home, or on the go, Hamilton Business Technologies equips your business with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop. Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
MHC isn't new, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can also handle your commercial moves as well. There's never fees on trucks, stairs, elevators, long carry, and last-minute booking, and no trip or fuel charges. Also no upcharge on weekends, and they do offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition. You're listening to One-on-One with DP, sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. One-on-one with Huskers tennis head coach Peter Kobelt. And it is fascinating, right? That athletes, we do have a different sort of mentality about the things that we wear, the things that we carry. Like, do you have those things that, you know what, I have to have in my bag?
Yeah.
What's in coach's bag? What as a player, what did you carry with you? So when you went to US Open, what did you have in your bag?
You got everything in your bag, man. You got a spare change. You got a couple spare changes of clothes because tennis you play outside, it's hot, especially in US Open time. It's hot and humid. You go through a shirt after one set of the match, easy. So you got a couple shirts. You got a couple pairs of spare changes of clothes, some socks. You might have an extra pair of shoes if you sweat a lot on your feet. And then you got all your tennis equipment. Most guys, it's very rare to have less than 4 rackets, and usually they have 3 of them or 4 of them strung for each
different degrees
for each match. So, because you're going out there playing for a lot of these guys are going out there playing for big money. They're like, well, I'm not going to skimp on, stringing a racket. So a lot of the guys playing right now, they'll string, 12 rackets. Some of these guys have 8 to 12 rackets. They go out for Wimbledon, these matches, and they'll just change whenever it gets a little bit loose. Then the ball, that every time they hit the ball, it feels exactly the same. But you have string in there, you have grips in there. Then you got, your electrolytes and your Gatorade, like the power bars and stuff that you eat. And the health side of things in tennis, I think, was more prominent in sports before it was in a lot of other sports. Making sure you get, Djokovic and some of these guys really redefined what it means to be an athlete, and a lot of it came from the nutritional side of things. I think tennis was one of the sports that really got that moving in all of sports. I think just, Djokovic really made a big deal of it, and now everyone eats super clean in the tennis world. People really look at you strange if you're going out and eating a hamburger every night. But I mean, what else is in the bag? I would say that's pretty close to everything, but everyone's a little bit different. But for me, you got to have, I wouldn't go on the court without having 2 or 3 rackets freshly strung, some grips, and some of the nutritional stuff.
Do you string them yourself?
No, I wouldn't string them myself.
So you have to have somebody.
Yeah, you go there and you have to, you go, it's like $20-$25 a racket. So you get 2 or 3 done a match. And if you're going to go win a tournament, you got to win 5 matches. So you do the math real quick. That just that bill alone, you're spending a couple $100 easy.
Well, what about your players?
Well, same. When we travel, we like to string our rackets here we play Friday, Sunday. We like to string the rackets here for the first match because that's less of a cost, $10 or whatever. But when we're there, we're there to win. So we're going to string our rackets.
Is there somebody on staff who?
Nope. So we don't travel with because a stringing machine are these big clunky things.
Yeah.
So that's real tough to travel with. But so a lot of times the opponent's team's manager or the club that we'll play at will string them for us, and it's $20-$25 a pop.
Oh,
so
that's
we're
risky.
spending.
That's risky though.
Yeah, there's a little bit of most of the time you don't have to worry about anything, but there's every now and then where you're like, hey, like you guys gonna string our rackets or what's going on here? So
rivalry weekend.
Yeah, that's just college sports, and ideally you'd bring someone that would string rackets, but at the end of the day, it's me, our assistant, and our graduate assistant, and we're trying to do other things than stay up all night and string rackets. Save a little bit of money. So if we can give them to someone else to string, that's what we're going to do. So we can get ready to play the match the next day.
What's your travel roster look like? What does it look like when the Huskers go on the road? Sometimes you're on a bus, right? Sometimes, or do you fly everywhere that you go?
We fly the majority of the places that we go, just because there's not a lot of other men's tennis teams in our vicinity. Within 6 hours. That's kind of the range of when that's probably as far as we'll drive. And we just hop in some minivans. We usually don't do the bus. So we'll just rent a few minivans, the man vans.
You are much cooler than some.
Yeah.
No, my coach.
Yeah.
So no,
me and my assistant will just jump in a van and we'll load the guys in the back and we'll drive. So anything within 6 hours, you can make it. You can make it almost to University of Wisconsin and Illinois. We'll drive down to Tulsa and Oklahoma City, and you play Oklahoma State and some of those teams down there. But other than that, we're flying. So
how many trips do you get on the big bird, the big Husker bird?
Was that the private?
Yeah.
But a couple years ago we got one to Ohio State, Penn State, which was helpful because that's a beast of a trip. You got to fly into Pittsburgh or Philly and drive. That's not easy, but they don't reserve that one for the tennis team too often.
Well, that's why I asked, Mr. Dan,
which is okay. I'm all right. I'm not sitting here complaining at all, but I get it. But
get two. Like they can get to it. Like I understand that.
Well, we are traveling a lot more, and there's with the way everything's changing with the conferences and the alignments and stuff. Travel's just tough. So one of the things that Troy's asked us to do is to try and play more regionally if we can, but there's just not a lot of teams. Iowa don't have a team. Minnesota doesn't have a team. You go to Kansas, doesn't have a team. Kansas State doesn't have a team. So those are a lot of.
And playing down doesn't really help you.
Well, it's kind of like football where you throw in a few of those games at the beginning of the year to just to get out some of the nerves and to figure out kind of what your guys look like and stuff. You play a few doubleheaders. Tennis, you'll play some doubleheaders, but at the end of the day, you got to get above that 500 rule, that 500 line in order to make the tournament. So sometimes coaches will, if you're ranked high enough, but you're under 500, you might throw in a few of these extra matches at the end of the year just to get a few wins so you can make the tournament. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into the scheduling nowadays. So there's more than, and then ultimately you got to get the other coach to agree, and then you got to find a weekend to play on, and then you got to make sure it fits in the budget. And then, there's always someone on the team that complains that we're up too early for a flight or something. So you're like, hey man, we're doing our best here.
We do what we got to do. What's your thinking? What's the belief on playing local, smaller universities and programs?
I think it's great. I think, we're lucky that we have, there's 2 programs up in Omaha. University of Omaha has a team, and so does Creighton. So we try and play those guys every year. I'd like it if we had like a Nebraska tennis day where everyone came down to Lincoln. I know Kearney has a team, a women's team. They just brought back their men's program. So trying to get the Lopers maybe to come into Lincoln. I don't know if we would play them, but to have like a big Nebraska tennis day, that's kind of one of my goals is in trying to grow tennis here is to get, people from Omaha down here, to get people out from Kearney and over here to Lincoln and kind of just grow it slowly. So we're lucky that there's 2 programs up there that are good, that want to play us. They're, if we're losing to one of those teams year after year, then you might not be talking to me too much longer. But we're usually favored against both of them. But they're great tests, and we try and play them at the beginning of the year, and they kind of get us ready for what's coming. And both of their head coaches are young and hungry, and they want to win. So I think it's great. It's great for tennis here in the state. So
what's in your players' bag? So with all the goodies, and let's say that it's a one-off trip, so you're going to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
What are your players carrying with them?
A lot of the same things. We usually, if it's a longer trip, we'll have them bring 2 pairs of shoes because the guys just go through shoes like you won't believe. And then the coaches, we have like a travel bag where we put all the string and the grips and the snacks and stuff like that, the electrolytes, all the stuff so they don't have to worry too much about that. So they just bring their match clothes, their practice gear, and then whatever makes them, comfortable when they travel. Some of them have like little notes that they have in their bag that they can read on the changeover. Some of them, they have like a little device for someone's bugging them. They'll bring like a STEM device.
Yeah, there's always that. Are the surfaces pretty consistent?
No, that's the hardest part. And
right?
That's what people don't quite understand is like if the day before a football game, games on Saturday, practice on Friday, you're really not doing anything. It's just a walkthrough. You go through the last minute films, but on what you're actually doing physically is very limited.
Yeah.
But in tennis, if we're an indoor team and our courts are medium to medium fast, and then we go down south and we play at Arkansas and the weather's nice, we got to play outside. And then, those courts are slow and bouncy. So you have one day basically to prepare for those conditions, which is hard. So, because you ultimately don't want to practice too long.
But you also want to go places where you're familiar. You
Sure.
know what kind of court. You know.
So this is also what's the scheduling part too. Is you have to be smart with how you schedule. You don't want to go, you don't want to go down in February to Florida and play outside in Florida because that's just it's tough for anyone to go down there and do that time of year. You haven't played outdoor tennis in I don't know how many months. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but yeah, I mean, that's why for me, coaching is all about toughness and resiliency and doing the basic things really, really well, because you're not going to go and travel to USC and UCLA, and you're not going to go out there and play your best because they've practiced on those courts in those conditions thousands of hours, and we've got 2.5 maybe before we play them. So,
and they have the advantage. I mean, whether the climate matters.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, it also matters when they come here too. So it goes both ways. We beat USC at home this year, and then we were, 5 minutes away from beating UCLA at home this year. That was the closest match we played out of all of them, I think. And we played a lot of close ones, but we were right there in that. Both of those teams made the Sweet 16 or farther. I think UCLA made it one round farther, but yeah, it's just hard. It's just hard. So, but yeah, and then you're trying to travel and find flights that are affordable and hotels where that are nice, good, decent breakfasts and stuff. There's a lot that goes into it, and that's stuff that we try and take care of early and make sure that our guys are set up. But things happen, and that's just kind of how sports go. But
yeah, I mean, in the travel side of it, sometimes it depends on where you're going. The per diems that have to be paid are different per state. In the CBA, we had to deal with that. Our per diems that we gave going to Minot, North Dakota were different than the ones when we were going to Vegas, when we were going to Southern California. So you had to budget that in. The hotel, they give you some number of what you had to spend on hotels, which if you've ever gone to Las Vegas or Los Angeles, you know that it costs a lot more than it does in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Sure. Look, the administration knows this. Like, Troy's done it. We had our budgetary meetings, and he's kept us right where we need to be budget wise. They haven't. I don't think they made any cuts from a budget standpoint for any of the programs, which is awesome.
Say that again for folks.
I don't know. I can't say for sure, but I don't think he made any budgetary cuts for any of the sports at Nebraska, which is truly phenomenal in a time like this. And I think these are the little small things that everyone looks and says this or that, but those are massive things for a coach and for a program, just to know that it's not all just about football or volleyball here. Like, Troy wants to win in every sport, and he's made that clear to me and all the other head coaches, and he's backing it up with his actions. So he's given us all the resources. He's asking us to be as diligent with them as we can, and that's something that we have no problem doing, and our guys are extremely grateful. But yeah, in a time like this where you're seeing a lot of universities and conferences crumble, I think tennis now has the most cut programs since everything's changed. I think there's 17 tennis programs, men's and women's, that have been cut since the
revenue share
thing all started, which is the most out of every sport. I think the next highest is gymnastics at 4. But so for Troy to double down on the men's and women's program from a financial standpoint, and I think every other program at the University of Nebraska, I think speaks volumes to where the university is and where we're trying to go. So
there's a lot to it. And again, you're right. The social media communication with athletic directors and the departments and the athletes of these cuts, it's been pretty scary in some places. The fact that it isn't happening here. Shout out to Troy Dannon for pulling that. You mentioned a couple things. We're going to go to break, but you mentioned a thing about nutrition, and you have international players, but you also have a new facility over here that feeds your athletes at maybe the highest level in the Big Ten. I want to talk about that. How do you handle that? Because dietary needs, nutrition of international players, a little different. They are used to different things, and it's pretty interesting sometimes to see how it plays out. And I'll ask you what the typical diet is for a Husker athlete, Husker tennis player. What are they consuming? They're burning calories and nobody's short of swimmers and divers. So we'll talk about that with head coach Peter Kobelt when we come back.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Make bill paying a breeze with Text to Pay. LES texts you 1 week before your bill's due date. Just reply to the text to pay. It's that easy. Log into your account at les.com to sign up today.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
When opportunity knocks, you don't want to miss the call. Hamilton Business Technologies makes communication easy and efficient using customized technology, all while putting people first. Whether you're working from the office, at home, or on the go, Hamilton Business Technologies equips your business with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop. Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
MHC isn't new, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered. Specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can also handle your commercial moves as well. There's never fees on trucks, stairs, elevators, long carry, and last-minute booking, and no trip or fuel charges. Also no upcharge on weekends, and they do offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
You're listening to One-on-One with DP, sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. Final segment with head coach Peter Kobelt, Huskers tennis. And it's always informative and enlightening when you stop in. And my plan was to just ask you about sports in general. We weren't going to go in deep in tennis, but I always say there's no chance I can ask you everything I want to ask you, which is a sign you should be on here more.
I'm here, baby.
You know, especially while we can. And I'm going to get you on for football. Like, I need the weekly Kobelt report on football.
That'd be a
Sounds
lot
good.
of fun. I love the crossovers
Right?
from different sports and coaches.
Right?
Well, I'll give you a little sneak peek. When I was at Ohio State my senior year, I lived with the two captains of the Ohio State football team the year that they won the national title under Urban Meyer. So I got
Who were those guys? Who were those guys?
Jeff Hireman. He played 5 years with the Denver Broncos,
Yep.
and then Evan Spencer, Tim Spencer's son.
Yeah.
Tim Spencer's a badass.
That's a family of dudes, man.
Evan was the wide receiver that threw that touchdown pass to Michael Thomas against Alabama in the Sugar Bowl, and then he was the one that made those blocks for Zeke Elliott to run.
Urban was my guy.
Urban's crazy.
I'm glad you said it. I tried to explain to people. So when I was in Utah, Urban came in. He took over the program, and literally in the first group of media, he identified, look, I need to find a dude in the media that's going to be my guy. And so he asked me to host his weekly show. And so we had a little cafe right off of campus, and me and Urban would go, and Ron Boone, and we would sit and talk football every Friday morning. And it was amazing. But I saw his work, and that's when you know, oh, okay, there's a reason why he's Urban Meyer.
Right.
Like this is not just luck. No, this dude's a machine. He thinks differently. He works differently. And yeah, it was a process. As a matter of fact, he recruited a couple of my guys. So I left from Virginia coaching to go to Utah, and two of my players, AJ Alexander, ended up playing tight end for Urban in Ohio State. Matter of fact, he might have been there right about when you were there as well.
So,
AJ Alexander, yeah, he blew out a knee. He started as a freshman and sophomore and blew out his knee, and that was the end of his career.
Tough.
It's tough. It's tough. Nutrition for tennis players, specifically Husker college tennis players. What's the common thing that you say to your players about eating and refilling, fueling, not eat this, not that? You got the training table as well. What's the nutrition plan for Husker tennis?
The only rule I give the guys is 24 hours before the match, there's no dairy. Not allowed to have any dairy. I think the way the dairy's made here in the States isn't great, and it takes too long for your body to digest it correctly. So 24 hours before the match.
Cheese included in
no cheese, no sour cream, no yogurts, none of that. We can figure out other ways for them to get their protein. And
you were punching right in the gut, man.
Yeah, I know. There's some of the our Spanish boy in the team loves cheese. Same with the Argentinian boy; they love it.
Yeah.
And every time they're like, "Please, I hopefully forgets this time." I'm like, nope. Hey, 24 hours, no cheese, boys. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, coach, are you serious?" I'm like, but yeah, I'm serious. So I think those little things make a big difference. It did for me when I played, but I mean, we're so lucky to have the training table.
How good is the training
That's
table
stuff
here?
that the guys don't have to pay for either, and that's a huge recruiting tool. Monday through Friday, you eat as much as you want for free, and then the guys get money on the weekends. I think it's $80 or $90
Husker
to go
bucks.
shopping. Yeah,
Husker bucks for the win.
yeah. So I mean, we recruit. We're like, look, you're not going to spend $1 on food while you're here, no matter what size scholarship you're on, and you're eating at the nicest, training hall in the United States. It's the best that anyone can offer. And it goes a long way because tennis has a unique relationship with nutrition just because of, it's so public in the tennis side. Djokovic, and like I was saying, there's so many athletes now that are so meticulous about their nutrition. So, when they're these athletes in tennis that are 12, 13, 14 years old, where maybe in other sports, it's just like, let's just eat. Tennis, it's like, no, like, what are we eating? Do we have any allergies? And then they come to the States and all the food, all the seed oils and stuff. So the training table, you can basically order what you want.
Eat clean.
It's clean. There's the avocado oil. They use olive oil. They don't use any of the seed oils and stuff that make you feel like crap after you eat it. So a lot of times it's harder when we leave. When we leave the facility and we have to go eat on the road, you're looking for places that are somewhat healthy and quick and affordable. So that's the tricky part. But yeah, so we're one of the only schools, if not the only school, that can sit down and be like, look, here's whatever you want to eat, whatever your diet fits. Everything you're eating is clean too. It's whole foods. It's wild caught fish. It's steak from Nebraska. Come on now. It's and the coaches somehow get in on it too. we get 25 free meals a semester, which is unbelievable too. So
that's
crazy.
it? You only get 25?
Hey, I'm not complaining.
Man.
I'm not complaining.
Well, we'll work on that.
No, I mean it's good. And
Tipsy Tina's. We're setting that up, man. Look, the wrestlers are figuring it out. The swimmers and divers are figuring it out. Look, we can get the tennis team fed. We can get the tennis coaches fed.
No, it's the players get everything.
Yeah.
They get everything. So,
Coach, we will do it again as soon as you're available. Literally, all you have to do is say, "Hey, I'm open."
Let's do it.
Oh, Coach, thank you very much for what you do. Appreciate you all the time. I promise you. You're building this tennis thing here, and it's impressive to watch. And we're going to be rooting for you like crazy.
Thanks, DP. More work to do, baby.
Hey, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that next announcement.
We'll see. Fingers crossed.
There we go. Don't go anywhere. Ticket Weeknights, Harrison Arns. He's got the crew. He's got a full crew back there to take you through till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whenever Harrison gets bored and decides to go home. But he will take you through Ticket Weeknights. Remember, Lincoln, take care of you. We love y'all, and we want you to remember that. See you tomorrow.